Our third anniversary. Calvin brought his childhood friend back to our house. He told me nonchalantly, "He's a picky eater. There's this he won't eat that he won't eat. From now on, just ask him what he wants for every meal before you cook." His parents are pressuring him to get married, the poor guy. He's also really timid, so I'll sleep with him for now. Pack up your stuff and move into the guest room. I didn't say a word. I just grabbed my phone, turned around, and walked out. Calvin sneered. "If you're gonna throw a tantrum, be back within 3 days. Isn't your touch starvation so bad you can't live without me?" His friend laughed. "Touch starvation? What kind of disease is that?" Calvin shot me a cold glare. "Who knows? A grown man who needs to be held all day. It's disgusting. Don't worry about him. He'll be back on his own in 3 days anyway." Calvin led his friend into the master bedroom. But what they didn't know was that someone was already waiting for me at the gate. This time I was leaving for good. I walked out of my own luxury villa. The sunlight was a bit blinding. I looked up and saw Dylan. Almost 6'3", he was wearing a flashy, bright red suit. Behind him was a ridiculously loud cherry red sports car, paired with his green hair. It was uniquely tacky. I had a feeling he dyed his hair green just for the occasion. He took off a pair of ridiculously cool sunglasses, revealing a handsome face. He gave me a rakish grin and whistled. "Hey buddy, is your chronic case of bad taste finally cured?" I mumbled a quiet yeah. I walked past him and went straight for the sports car. I pulled the door open and sat down, my movements a little stiff. Seeing this, Dylan made a TSK sound, clearly not happy with my reaction. But he didn't say much. He crossed to the other side of the car in a few long strides, opened the door and slid in. He fumbled around inside for a moment, then pulled out a few pieces of candy and tossed them to me. "Here, eat up. I'm 25, not a kid. Why would I eat candy? It's your favorite. Strawberry." I glanced at Dylan, then at the pink candies in my hand. Slowly, I unwrapped one and popped it in my mouth. It was so sweet I almost cried. For the past 3 years, because Calvin said candy was for little kids, I hadn't eaten a single piece. Of course, that wasn't all I did to please Calvin. I didn't just give up candy for 3 years, I also cut off all contact with Dylan and did a ton of other things only a complete idiot would do. For 3 years, in this mansion in a posh neighborhood, I spent every day coming up with new recipes to cook for Calvin. My skills got so good I could have entered a cooking competition. I just hoped that if he was happy with his food, he might hug me and ease my touch starvation. Why did I have such a weird condition like touch starvation? It started 3 years ago when I graduated from college. Calvin, an upperclassman from my program, helped me get a job. My dad actually wanted me to come home and take over the family business. After all, our family business is massive, and we're ridiculously rich. But I had a secret crush on Calvin. The job he got for me was at the same company where he worked. I took it just to be closer to him. After I started, they said I needed a physical for a health certificate before I could officially begin. The doctor who examined me was a top specialist just back from overseas, and also Calvin's childhood friend, Dr. Ian Carter. He told me I had touch starvation and that if I didn't find a regular person to hold me, I would die. At the time, I just thought the guy was a scam artist and was about to call the cops to report him for fraud. After all, I'd been alive for over 20 years without any health problems. But Calvin told me to wait and see, saying Dr. Carter was a leading authority and wouldn't just make things up. And strangely enough, ever since Ian examined me, it was like I really did have touch starvation. Every day, the sight of Calvin made me desperate to hold him. It was driving me crazy. So crazy that just hearing his name would make my body react. My mind was completely filled with him. I thought I was sick. Calvin offered to take care of me. He said that as my senior, it was his duty. He also said that since I was sick, I shouldn't work, and he would earn money to support me. I actually wanted to tell him that my family was so rich I could spend my whole life not working and never run out of money. But when I saw the sincerity on Calvin's face as he said he'd support me, I agreed to quit my job and let him take care of me. The person I liked said he wanted to support me. I felt like the happiest person in the world. After all, a man liking another man is something a lot of people find disgusting. But Calvin didn't seem to mind me being close at all. To treat my illness, he would hold me every day. He even started sleeping in the same bed with me at night to take care of me. Later, he was the one who brought it up, saying that since we were already sharing a bed, it wasn't right for us not to have a proper title. I wanted to say that even though we slept in the same bed, we never did anything, so it wasn't a big deal. But he insisted we had to make it official. I figured we were both guys, so there was no need to be dramatic. If he wanted a title, I'd give him one. And just like that, we very naturally became boyfriends. My world began to revolve 360 degrees around him. But then his childhood friend started calling him all the time. And he started using working overtime as an excuse to stay out all night. When I asked, the answer was always the same. He had to earn money to support me. To support me, he had to work overtime. No overtime, no money. No money, no supporting me. I thought to myself, it must be because I was eating too much, spending a couple $100s a month on food. I had to eat less from now on. If I ate less, Calvin wouldn't have to work overtime to support me. But even when I was only eating porridge, Calvin still said I was hard to take care of. And he started working overtime even more frequently, often going on business trips for days at a time. He knew I had touch starvation. He knew that when it acted up, if I didn't hold someone, I could suffocate. But he still, maybe I really was just too hard to take care of. The 6th of last month was my birthday. We had agreed from the very beginning that he would definitely spend my birthday with me. But that day he said he had to work overtime and couldn't come home. I asked one more question. He yelled, "We're both grown men. Can you stop being so damn clingy? And that stupid disease of yours, one night without a hug isn't going to kill you. What's with all the drama?" I wanted to say something, but he hung up on me. Later, at 11 p.m., he still wasn't back, and it had started to rain outside. I remembered he was afraid of thunder and rain, so I went to his office to bring him an umbrella. He had taken the car to work, so I had to ride my electric scooter. But when I got to his company, he wasn't there working overtime. I called him. He didn't answer. I texted him. No reply. Later, I was riding my scooter home in the downpour when I was hit by a semi-truck. I called him. The phone rang for a long time before he finally picked up. Before I could even speak, Calvin's roar came through the phone. "Eric, are you f***ing kidding me? I told you I'm working overtime. You think I'm like you, with all the free time in the world to just lie around the house and get fed?" With difficulty, I said, "I was hit by a car. Can you come to the hospital? I'm not a doctor. What do you want me to do if you got hit? I thought you had touch starvation. Did you add brain damage to the list? I'm the one supporting you right now. If I don't work, what am I supposed to use to support you? What will you eat? What will you use? If you're really that bored, go find someone else to bother. Stop clinging to me." When I woke up in the hospital, I opened the app for the security cameras at home. On the monitor, Calvin, who was supposedly working overtime, was playing video games in our living room all night with his childhood friend. "Calvin, my man, don't tell me you've actually caught feelings for Eric? When the hell did you become gay? Feelings? My ass. You have no idea how disgusting it is every time I have to hug him. If I hadn't thought his family was rich back then, you think I would have bothered? But who knew he was just some bastard son? A broke-ass loser. It pisses me off so much, and I still have to earn money to support him. Why doesn't he just go die? Is he blind? How can he not see how much he disgusts me? Just looking at him all day, I can't even get hard anymore. I have to lock my underwear every night when I go to sleep. I have never seen a more pathetic man." Calvin spewed out a long tirade, as if venting his frustration. "Ha ha ha, Calvin, you're a legend. But hey man, I'm actually kind of into guys. If you're tired of him, let me have a turn. Speaking of which, Eric is seriously good looking. I wonder what he tastes like." Ian's eyes lit up as he spoke. Calvin's eyes darkened, his hand gripping his phone tighter. "Sure, I'll slip him something. He'll be all over you. He's just a broken toy anyway. Who cares who plays with him?" What was I feeling when I heard all that? My head hurts a little. So he had always been disgusted by me. "Eric, what's wrong? I lifted my head, dazed, and saw Dylan's serious face. His eyes filled with an abnormal gentleness. The flashy red sports car was parked on the side of the road. I opened my mouth. Don't drive this car anymore. The bright red makes me dizzy. I threw out a random excuse. Huh? Oh, okay. Dylan agreed while simultaneously yanking at his clothes. Perhaps sensing my confusion, Dylan explained. My suit is red too. If you're dizzy, I'll just take it off right now. His gym-toned body was suddenly on full display. It's only been 3 years, but his abs have gotten even more defined. I remembered Calvin's words again, and my palms started to sweat. My voice was low. Dylan, don't you think a gay guy like me is disgusting? You're taking your clothes off in front of me like this. Aren't you afraid I'll do something to you? Dylan paused in the middle of taking off his pants. Then, with a rip, his pants tore. His bright green boxers were revealed. Eric, don't listen to that scumbag Calvin's bullshit. Remember, whatever he told you, it's all crap. But what if I really do want to do something to you? I glanced down at his very shapely green boxers. It's only been 3 years. What has this guy been eating? How did it get so big? It looks a lot bigger than mine. Suddenly, a strong hand grabbed my chin. I was forced to look up at Dylan. Dylan said, word by word, I'd be so lucky. For words, each one heavier than the last. Suddenly, my lips were covered by something cool, but it only lasted a second. Dylan quickly sat up straight, his previously dark and unreadable eyes becoming clear again. You're sweet and you smell good, not disgusting at all. Calvin is a piece of shit, and the words that come out of his mouth are shit too. Listening to his crap will only bring you bad luck. Be good. From now on, listen to your big bro, and I guarantee you'll be rolling in cash and good fortune. Dylan's crude yet charming words made me laugh. Seeing me smile, Dylan stared at me for a long moment, his Adam's apple bobbing unconsciously before he said, Eric, I'm taking you home. Okay. Dylan brought me home. The moment my dad saw me, he started crying. He completely ignored Dylan, who was standing behind me wearing nothing but a pair of bright green boxers. It was as if my dad wasn't surprised at all to see Dylan like this. Eric, you're finally back. I thought you'd abandoned this old man. I married into your family, you know. Your mom's gone. You can't abandon me too. He was crying so pitifully. Dylan waved goodbye to me and left in his big green boxers. Eric, you know, you've been gone for 3 years. Do you have any idea what my life has been like? My dad cried as he spoke and spoke as he cried. For 3 years, I've been working during the day and going to school at night. I've studied so hard my hair is falling out. Now that you're back, you have to go to the office tomorrow. Okay? Okay, I'll go. I'll manage the company from now on. After getting my confirmation, my dad immediately pulled out his phone and started booking a flight. I was confused. Dad, why are you booking an international flight? Isn't all our business domestic? Or did you expand the business overseas while I was gone? You're that good? My dad raised his chubby hand and clumsily wiped the big tears from his plump face. His face was a mask of misery. I haven't been fishing in 3 years. I need to find an island and do some serious fishing. I put my hand over my dad's phone screen. Dad, you don't even care how your son has been doing these past 3 years? I heard I've become your bastard son, and I just got dumped. The thought of Calvin made my chest feel heavy. My dad shoved me away angrily. What bastard son? I did that on purpose. I learned it from a book. Pretty smart, right? That Calvin was only after your money, not you. I knew you wouldn't listen if I told you, so I just used a little trick to make him think you were a broke loser. And what's this about getting dumped? Calvin is a piece of crap. You've been constipated for 3 years, and you finally took a dump. Shouldn't you feel relieved? My dad rambled on, then bent down and took a piece of candy from a drawer for me. Son, the company is yours now. I'm leaving, okay? Dad, you trust me that much? I just had my heart broken. What if I can't get over it? With Dylan around, you won't have time to not get over it. I still wanted to ask why I wouldn't be down with Dylan around. Did Dylan study psychology in the last 3 years or something? But before I could ask, my dad was already gone. He didn't stay a second longer, just grabbed his fishing rod and ran. As if the fish in the sea would disappear if he was a second too slow. I had to hand it to my dad. He never finished elementary school. Back in the day, my mom took a liking to him because he was handsome, and he married into our family. My mom passed away in an accident when I was 18. I took over for her. But then I became completely infatuated with Calvin, like a total moron, and my dad had to take over the company. He hates everything about the business world but was afraid of running the company into the ground and letting my mom down. So he had to work during the day and enroll in an executive training program at night. But to save money, my dad enrolled in a knockoff executive program. I heard the teacher in that program was just teaching my dad middle and high school subjects. Last year, he even made my dad sign up for the college entrance exams. Only after my dad took the exams did they start teaching him actual business courses. And when it came to the actual business courses, they just had my dad learn by himself through online classes. Because the teacher of that executive program had never even been to college himself. All that studying for the past 3 years made my dad call Dylan crying almost every night. Dylan. I repeated Dylan's name, looking at the candy in my hand. It was the same kind Dylan had given me in the car. The kind I've always loved most. I went back to my room. Everything was exactly as it had been 3 years ago. There were 3 pieces of candy on my desk. Recent expiration date. They must have been bought recently. They looked exactly like the 3 pieces of candy that were on my desk when I left 3 years ago. Even their placement was identical. Next to the 3 candies was a photo of me and Dylan taken at the gym in middle school. Dylan was my childhood best friend. We grew up together. We should have had a great relationship. But 3 years ago, my brain broke, and I decided I couldn't live without Calvin. Calvin didn't like Dylan, so I cut Dylan off. To make the break complete, I said every horrible thing I could think of. Until last month, when I crashed my scooter and hit my head. The knock to my head suddenly made me realize some things. Turns out I'm just the cannon fodder simp in a novel. Calvin is the main character of this book. And I'm the one simping for him. I'm destined to give Calvin all my family's wealth, my dignity, and even my life. Calvin will step on me to become a successful man. The book is about how Calvin and his childhood friend go through all sorts of ambiguous flirtations, tests, misunderstandings, and suffering before finally admitting their feelings for each other and getting together. And I, the cannon fodder simp, will throw myself into the sea and die because of unrequited love. My dad will be so heartbroken by my death that he'll jump in after me. If I hadn't hit my head last month, today, on our anniversary, I would have gotten jealous because Calvin brought his friend home. To beg Calvin to hold me, I would have revealed that my family is rich and given all our money to him. No wonder I'd been acting like my brain was slammed in a door for the past 3 years. It was all the damn plot, pushing me to be a simp. Eric. Hey, Eric. Open the window. Just as I was thinking, a voice came from outside the window. Hearing the familiar voice, I instinctively walked to the window and pushed it open. Dylan, how old are you? Can't you use the front door instead of climbing through my window? Our rooms face each other. If I use the front door, I have to go all the way around. It's a pain. Dylan, having climbed in, pulled a bunch of candy from his pocket. He stuffed all of it into my hands. Eric, you eat this. I'll go make you dinner. He said it so naturally, as if he had done this hundreds, even thousands of times before. It was like he'd forgotten we'd cut ties 3 years ago, forgotten all the horrible things I'd screamed at him. I grunted in agreement. By the time I'd finished 1 piece of candy and went to the kitchen, Dylan was already there, wearing a pink apron and cooking for me. He moved with practiced ease, even managing to banter with me while stir-frying. Eric, I'm gonna make you the world's best egg fried rice. You're gonna love it. Sucking on my candy, I leaned against the kitchen doorway. All right, then it better be the best in the world. Otherwise, I'm not eating it. But do you really have to cook with your shirt off? My house isn't that hot, is it? My gaze lingered on his body, which was covered only by the apron. Tan skin, lean, powerful muscles. Because of the heat, beads of sweat dotted his skin. It was very sensual. I barely managed to tear my eyes away. No, seriously, is there something wrong with you? You weren't like this 3 years ago. Who cooks with their shirt off? Do you like it? Huh? I almost swallowed the whole piece of candy. Dylan's eyes, which had been bright a moment ago, seemed to dim, and his tone was tinged with resignation. I asked if you like egg fried rice. Oh yeah, I love it. I've loved your egg fried rice since we were kids. You know that, don't you? Yeah, right, I know. I know jack shit. Your brain is only filled with that scumbag Calvin. That dog is ugly, can't cook, what part of him is better than me? Dylan's voice was so quiet I couldn't quite hear him, so I asked again. But he seemed to get angry, suddenly clanging the pan loudly and refusing to answer my question. I sat across from Dylan, eating the egg fried rice. It was really delicious. For the past 3 years, I was so afraid Calvin would think I ate too much that I didn't even dare to put an egg in my fried rice. After all, an egg costs $1. And here I was, the heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune. Sigh. I knew my brain had been broken. Dylan's phone rang. He answered it, grunting a few times. That idiot Haley got lost again. She wants me to pick her up. I swear, a woman in her 20s who gets lost while shopping. Eric, you eat first, I'll be back soon to do the dishes. Dylan spoke quickly and left without even changing his shoes, still in his slippers. He seemed to be in a real hurry. Haley, the girl Dylan's mom picked out for him to marry. An arranged marriage. It was set when Dylan was 5. She's the daughter of his mom's best friend, who was also my mom's best friend. Now that we're all in our 20s, it's about time to get married. Dylan and Haley are probably getting married soon, right? Thinking about it, I suddenly lost my appetite. I didn't want to eat anymore. I went back to my room and took a shower with actual body wash. I used the 10,000 a bottle custom body wash we had. Felt so good. My skin finally wasn't greasy anymore. For the past 3 years, I was so afraid Calvin couldn't afford to support me that I didn't even dare buy body wash. I just used a $2 bar of soap. Actually, I didn't even want to use the $2 soap, but I was afraid Calvin would think I smelled bad. Thinking back on it now, I really want to punch the me from the past 3 years. After my shower, I lay down on my 200,000 high-end custom mattress and was just about to order some food. A text message popped up on my phone. It was from Calvin. Eric, where the hell did you go? I get home from working overtime and there's not even a late-night snack. Is this how you act as a boyfriend? I'm working my ass off to support you. And what do? You find ways to stir up trouble all day. Get your ass back here and cook. Ian would never be like you, getting angry over every little thing. Don't you know how annoying you are? Be careful or I'll really get mad and dump you. Then you could be on your knees crying in front of me and I still wouldn't take you back. He wouldn't take me back? That was something Calvin said to me every day. Probably at least a dozen times a day. And every single time, I would kneel before him and beg him to keep me. That's what made Calvin so sure that I absolutely couldn't live without him. How could I have been so pathetic? I threw the phone directly into the trash. Anyway, Dylan would probably bring me back some food. I didn't need a phone to order takeout. But I drifted off to sleep, and when I woke up again, groggy, Dylan wasn't in my room. I pushed open the window and saw Dylan's room across from mine. He hadn't drawn the curtains. I could see right into his room. And Haley was there too. I quietly pulled my curtains shut and closed the window. My heart felt tight and heavy. A kind of panic I didn't even feel when I left Calvin. I fished my phone out of the trash can and made a call. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. Mr. Sterling, I know you're back and taking over the company, but it's 3 in the morning. Can we please talk about this tomorrow? Barry's voice on the other end was full of complaint. No, we'll talk now. Go sell the villa I used to live in. As soon as possible, sell it for half price. Also, inform the subsidiary to fire Calvin. Then find a group of guys to beat Calvin up. Beat him half to death. Oh, okay. Mr. Sterling, is your brain finally working right? You're done with that scumbag Calvin? That's great. Mr. Sterling, you have no idea what I've been through these past 3 years. Before Barry could start wailing, I hung up the phone. I'm in a bad mood, so someone else has to be miserable too. The main character? So what if he's the main character? The author who wrote this novel must have had a screw loose to create a scumbag protagonist like Calvin. And an outstanding person like me only gets to be a cannon fodder simp? I decided I'm going to take out this main character and become the protagonist myself. But even after sending people to deal with Calvin, my heart still felt heavy and blocked. I went to the kitchen and grabbed a cold beer from the fridge. I chugged the whole bottle. My head cleared a little, but that panicky feeling in my chest didn't go away. Instead, a wave of heat shot up from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. It was the touch starvation, which always flared up late at night. I really want a hug. A hug. From Dylan. He's my childhood friend. He won't get mad if I hug him, right? I climbed out my window and over to the ledge below Dylan's room. Dylan's voice drifted out from the window. Dylan, are we really doing this? Will Eric really not get mad? He won't. And even if he does, I have to do this. I have to confess. I have to propose. Propose? They're really getting married. Then I can't hug Dylan. I gritted my teeth, shakily got up from the ground, and climbed back into my own room. But as soon as I got back inside, I collapsed onto the floor. So hot, so stuffy, so much longing. I bit down hard, trying with all my might to endure it. But no matter how hard I tried, it was useless. It felt like a million ants were crawling all over my body. For some reason, my touch starvation has been getting more and more intense lately. It's not just about wanting a hug anymore. I also want, am I really the disgusting monster Calvin called me? After soaking in ice-cold water all night, I once again survived a bout of touch starvation on my own. Probably started after my car accident. Calvin would deliberately work overtime every night when my touch starvation was at its worst. But by then, my head had been knocked straight. I'd rather suffer alone than hug Calvin. So I didn't really care about his deliberate overtime during that period. Why didn't I leave if my head was fixed? Why did I stay with Calvin? Because the moment I tried to leave him, my breathing would become ragged, like I was suffocating. I knew it was the damn plot, forcing me, the simp cannon fodder, to stay by Calvin's side for 3 full years. I had originally thought that after leaving Calvin, I could hug Dylan for a bit of relief. But Dylan's getting married. Looks like I need to find a boyfriend. I'm afraid if I keep soaking in ice water, I'll have to see a urologist. The moment my dad picked up my call, he started crying. Son, I haven't even caught a single fish yet. Please have pity on your old dad. Can you put your blindness on hold for a bit? Can you not go back to that piece of crap, Calvin? Just wait till I catch a shark. I promise I'll come back then. Wah. I held the phone far away from my ear. Otherwise, I was afraid my dad's crying would deafen me. Dad, I'm not going back to Calvin. I'm asking you, are those blind dates you were going to set me up with still available? I need a boyfriend. A boyfriend? What about Dylan? You want a boyfriend? Does Dylan know? No, I'm afraid that kid will chop me to pieces. What does it have to do with Dylan? Before I could finish, my dad hung up. When I called back, his phone was off. What the hell happened in the last 3 years? Why is my dad so scared of Dylan? Eric, you're going on blind dates? I spun around to see Dylan standing behind me. His face was pale, his eyes were unnaturally cold, and he was staring straight at me. The way he was staring, it made me feel like I'd done something wrong. I felt a strange sense of guilt. I raised a hand to touch my nose and took a few steps back before saying, Yeah. I'm single now, so I was thinking of finding a boyfriend. The rest of the words got stuck in my throat, because my lips were suddenly covered by Dylan's. His kiss was ferocious, chaotic, like a mad bull charging recklessly. I tried to push him away, but he easily grabbed both my hands, pinned them above my head against the wall. Our bodies were pressed tightly together, no space between us. I tried to struggle, but it only resulted in him holding me tighter, his tongue invading my mouth. A feeling of breathlessness began to spread. My brain was buzzing. My vision was going dark. I think I was getting physiologically dizzy. Not good. My touch starvation is acting up. But it's not the middle of the night. Why is it happening now? Wait, I'm the one who's sick. Why is Dylan kissing me like this? Could it be he's sick too? Just when I felt like I was about to suffocate, Dylan ran. He left me there, gasping for air. My chest heaved violently, like a dying fish thrown back into the water. Cold air rushed back into my burning lungs. A numb, stinging sensation lingered on my lips where they had been bitten, and I could taste a faint hint of blood on the tip of my tongue. I don't know whose it was. I slumped to the floor. The thought that Dylan might have a strange illness too made my heart ache. Dylan is supposed to marry Haley. He can't just grab someone and kiss them whenever he wants. Haley would definitely get angry. It would cause trouble in Dylan's marriage. As his friend, I can't cause him trouble. It looks like finding a doctor is now a top priority. Both my and Dylan's weird illnesses need to be cured quickly. I practically crawled to the bathroom and threw myself into the cold bathtub. Only then did the burning heat in my body subside a little. Over the next few days, besides handling company matters, I also dealt with Calvin and Ian Carter. I'm no saint. When it comes to people who have bullied me, my favorite thing is to get revenge. But my dad had actually handled the company affairs very well. Barry is also very capable. So, I didn't really have that much to do at the office. But today, Barry said there was an event I absolutely had to attend. An auction. At the auction was a string of prayer beads that my mom loved before she passed away. According to Barry, my dad called and said that no matter how much it cost, we had to buy those beads. I asked Barry why my dad didn't call me directly and called him instead. Barry said my dad was afraid I'd call him back to manage the company. My dad probably isn't interested in anything besides fishing. Mr. Sterling, should I ask Mr. Chun to accompany you? I was a little confused. Why would I ask Dylan to go with me? He's getting married, he must be busy. He probably doesn't have time for boring events like this. I don't know what got into Barry, but he suddenly grabbed my hand. His eyes were shining brightly. Mr. Sterling, Mr. Chin finally told you about the wedding? That's fantastic. I've been so stressed out by Mr. Chun these past 3 years. I was about to have a mental breakdown. I need to call the old Mr. Sterling. He'll be so happy he'll stop fishing and come back for your wedding right away. Wait, Barry, you. Barry ran off, his arms and legs moving out of sync. Why so happy? Dylan's getting married. Why is Barry so ecstatic? When did Barry and Dylan get so close? It seems a lot happened in the last 3 years that I don't know about. And my dad too. Dylan's getting married, and he's giving up fishing for it? Something about this feels really, really weird. Is it because I have this strange illness, touch starvation, that my brain has also started getting weird? But I'm definitely going to this auction. Not just for the prayer beads, but also because, according to the novel's plot, Calvin is supposed to make a huge splash at this auction. Even though I've already dealt with Calvin, and logically he shouldn't be at the auction, you can't fight the fact that Calvin is the main character. So, I decided I should still go and check out the situation. I never expected to run into Calvin and Ian Carter the moment I stepped into the auction house. I thought Barry had already finished Calvin off. Barry had told me that the guys he hired had accidentally crushed Calvin's family jewels. Crushed beyond repair. Later, I did some investigating. I found out the person Barry hired was Dylan. Dylan not only crushed Calvin's manhood, he sent him straight to a mental hospital. I even paid the hospital extra to give Calvin special care. But I never thought that in just a few days, Calvin would be here, dressed to the nines and mingling with the crowd. The main character, indeed. His luck is incredible. I wanted to leave to get away from this piece of trash. But this piece of trash blocked my way. He raised an eyebrow at me, his face full of contempt. Eric, you really are hopelessly in love with me. Weren't you running away from home? Weren't you breaking up with me? How did you manage to follow me all the way here? This isn't the kind of place a poor person like you can afford to be. Ian Carter chimed in from the side. Yeah, you broke loser. You couldn't afford a single thing in here even if you worked for 10 lifetimes. I was about to leave, but suddenly I didn't want to anymore. Calling me poor? I'm gonna bury them in money. I stepped forward, glanced at Calvin, and poured the glass of red wine in my hand over his head. Even if I were blind, I'd find a normal man. Don't worry, I'm not interested in a man who's missing a couple ounces of flesh. My voice was light and airy, and I intentionally glanced down at Calvin's crotch. Calvin was furious. He raised his hand to hit me. Eric, there's a limit to your tantrums. I'm really going to get angry. Get the hell out of here and stop embarrassing me. Calvin flailed and spewed nonsense. I stuck my hands in my pockets, took a step back, and Barry, along with countless security guards, rushed forward and pinned Calvin down. Are you kidding me? In a place like this, how could a rich person like me get bullied? The organizers here are waiting for me to spend my money. I went to the front row and sat down. The auction started quickly, but item after item went by, and I didn't see any prayer beads. Just as I was getting incredibly bored, Calvin and Ian Carter came over again. Their faces were covered in bruises. They must have been beaten badly, but they just have this natural sense of superiority. They're pieces of crap, but they always think they're angels. They sat down next to me. Technically, they weren't qualified to sit in the front row, but the bosses next to me had just won their bids and left. The seats were empty, and Calvin and Ian, being thick-skinned, just sat down. Ian was the first to speak. Eric, don't think you're rich just because you rented a suit to come here. If you kneel down and beg me right now, and come with me, I might be happy enough to stop you from being so pitiful. I'm an internationally renowned doctor, after all. Supporting you is just pocket change for me. As Ian spoke, he moved closer and grabbed my hand. My 2 ounces are still intact. Come on, let's go have some fun. His words were disgusting, and he kept getting closer as he spoke. I was about to start a fight when I looked up and saw Dylan and Haley. They were sitting in the second row, diagonally across from me. I don't know when they arrived, but they must have been sitting there for a while. How nice. Their relationship is so good they even come to auctions together. But why did Haley just stand up? And she's walking towards me. I was about to say something when I saw Haley kick Ian Carter. Son of a b. Who the hell hit me? Do you know who I am? Ian yelled, then saw Haley and instantly shut his mouth. And Miss Haley, what are you doing here? I don't think I've offended you, have I? Are you? Haley completely ignored Ian and started hitting and kicking him again. You bastard! How dare you grab my Eric's hand? You got your filth all over my Eric. Go to hell, go to hell. Ian screamed for help, but no one dared to step forward. Are you kidding? This auction is run by Haley's family. Haley is the heiress of the family. Who would dare to intervene? Calvin tried to step forward but was held back firmly by the security guards. When Haley got tired of hitting him, she sat down in a chair and planted her foot on Ian, who was kneeling on the ground like a dog. After the auction is over, I'm definitely having your hand chopped off. Damn you. Even Dylan wouldn't dare to touch Eric's hand? And you did? I was a little confused. Haley suddenly looked at me with teary eyes, moved closer, and tried to soothe me. Eric, you've been wronged. Don't worry. Dylan will never look down on you. Why would Dylan look down on me? Just then, Dylan walked over. Our eyes met, and Dylan stopped in his tracks. He seemed a little afraid of me, not daring to come closer. I looked down. Oh, Haley and I were sitting too close. Dylan must be angry. So I quickly sat up straight and even tried to arrange with Barry to switch seats with him. But Barry ignored me and instead waved Dylan over. Mr. Chen, here, quick, you sit here. Before I could figure it out, Dylan was sitting next to me. I was about to ask what was going on, but the auction started again. This time it was for a string of prayer beads. A string of beads that looked completely ordinary, but had a ridiculously high starting price. The opening bid was $15 million. I had just raised my paddle. Calvin laughed. Eric, you broke loser, still pretending? That's $15 million. They could sell you and you still wouldn't be able to afford it. TSK, so pathetic. Did getting screwed by me for 3 years break your brain? Haha. Calvin suddenly couldn't speak. Someone had him by the throat. He was being choked so hard he couldn't breathe. His eyes were rolling back in his head. Say one more word, and I'll rip your tongue out. Eric told me not to touch you before, but you piece of trash actually dared to bully him? I saw Dylan's eyes were bloodshot, as if he was really going to snap Calvin's neck. I was just about to tell Dylan not to be impulsive. He's about to get married. committing a crime for a friend like me. If he got arrested, it would affect his wedding. But before I could speak, Dylan had choked Calvin unconscious. Ian was crying and screaming for help. Haley walked over and kicked Ian, knocking him out cold. Haley clapped her hands, looking pleased. Finally, some quiet. Eric, Dylan's lighting the sky lantern for you. Look, I turned my head and, sure enough, saw Dylan's hand raised high, making a very cool sky lantern gesture. This spendthrift. Does he not know how much money that gesture costs? You can't just throw money away like that, even if you have a lot of it. I stood up, got closer to Dylan, and whispered, Dylan, are you crazy? Haley's watching. Why are you lighting a sky lantern for me? She's going to get angry. Dylan looked both angry and a little confused. Why would Haley get angry about me being good to you? Aren't you marrying Haley? Lighting a sky lantern is so expensive. You can't just burn money on me like this. You should be lighting one for Haley. Dylan looked at me like he wanted to eat me. I felt that strange sense of panic again. In the novel, I don't think it ever mentioned Dylan's ending. Could it be that Dylan doesn't end up with Haley? No way. They've had an arranged marriage since they were kids. Eric, Dylan's in love with you. Didn't you know? In love with me? I grabbed the prayer beads from the auction and practically fled home. That guy, Dylan, actually got down on one knee and proposed to me in front of all those people at the auction. He's insane. There was no romantic storyline between me and Dylan in the novel. Is it because the cannon fodder simp, have awakened so the plot has changed? So, Dylan really does have the same weird illness as me? I lay in bed, unable to sleep. We're friends, I thought, and we're both sick. Plus, Dylan just lit a sky lantern for me, spending half of his family's fortune. I should at least go check on him. So I climbed out my window and over to Dylan's. I knocked on the glass. He didn't open it. I took out the hammer I had prepared and smashed his window. Glass shattered everywhere. I swaggered through the broken window into his room. But Dylan wasn't there. Where could he be this late at night? Just as I was wondering, Dylan walked out of the bathroom. He must have just showered. He was wearing nothing but a pair of bright red boxers, and glistening drops of water rolled down his body. I was enjoying the view, when he suddenly started pulling at his boxers. I jolted, rushed forward, and clamped my hand over his shorts. Dude, what are you doing? Pulling down your shorts in the middle of the night? I asked in all sincerity, but he didn't seem to hear me. He was zoning out, a dazed look on his face. Yes, dazed. Is his illness acting up? Dylan, tell me what kind of weird disease you have. I'm looking for a doctor. Don't worry, I'll make sure the doctor cures you. Dylan looked at me like I was an idiot. I'm not sick. I got a little angry. If you're not sick, why are you pulling down your pants? Dylan, my boxers are bright red. Didn't you say bright red makes you dizzy? Oh right, that lie I told him. People really shouldn't lie. No wait, I shot my head up. So you didn't kiss me before because you have a weird disease? And you didn't light the sky lantern for me because you were having an episode? Dude, you can't do this. You're about to marry Haley and you're with a man. Suddenly, Dylan pushed me down. I fell onto his bed. Just as I was about to get up, Dylan pinned me down. Is this guy's illness that serious? What kind of illness is it? How does it seem even more severe than my touch starvation? As if he could read my mind, Dylan suddenly shed a few tears. Eric, I am sick. A very serious disease. It's called touch starvation. I have to be close to someone to get better. Otherwise, I'll die. Huh? You too. Dylan kissed me again. Kissed me so hard I couldn't speak. His hands were restless, slipping inside my shirt. I couldn't take it anymore. After all, I'm a sick person. But just as I was about to lose control, Dylan ran away again. I sat in Dylan's room, a million thoughts racing through my mind. My strange illness was caused by some drug Calvin and Ian schemed to give me. What about Dylan? Could it be Calvin's doing too? It seems Calvin's punishment was too light. Why hasn't Dylan come back yet? I was bored, so I sat down at Dylan's desk. His desk was identical to mine. We had them custom designed by an overseas designer back in high school. Why is there a diary here? A diary? That should be a record of daily events. So the past 3 years, I clasped my hands together, said a silent prayer of repentance, and then opened Dylan's diary. I never, ever expected it to be full of me. My name written over and over, sketches of my face. In his desk drawer were all sorts of toys and cards I'd lost as a kid, as well as the underwear I used to lose all the time in high school. Even as dense as I am, I understood. Dylan actually has feelings for me? I panicked, my mind in a mess, and scrambled out the window like a thief. What I didn't know was that Dylan was watching me from his bedroom doorway. I also didn't know that the diary, and all the things in that drawer, were things Dylan had intentionally let me see. Haley sent me a text. It was a picture, a photo of her with another girl. She said it was her girlfriend, and also that Dylan had been secretly planning a wedding for me. I felt like my brain couldn't process anything. And at that exact moment, Calvin, who had somehow found my home address, started frantically pounding on my door. It was the middle of the night, and it was so loud that my strange illness was about to act up. I grabbed a frying pan from the kitchen and went to open the door. When Calvin saw me, he dropped to his knees with a thud and hugged my legs. "Eric, I was wrong, I was so wrong. Come back to me, I'll keep supporting you. Okay?" Just as I was about to kick him, Dylan, who had run over from next door, sent him flying with a single kick. I thought Calvin would run away immediately, but instead Calvin got fired up. "Eric, are you sick in the head? You found another guy just to piss me off? Are you really that desperate? Bringing men home in the middle of the night? If you get on your knees and beg me right now, I won't be angry anymore. Otherwise, I'll get really mad. I already apologized to you. What more do you want? I know you're so in love with me you can't help yourself. How about this? Transfer me $15 million right now, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. We can." The frying pan in my hand went flying. I really couldn't take it anymore. Where the hell did the author find such an idiotic male lead? "Dylan, handle this for me. I don't want to look at this trash for another second. If I look too long, I might go blind." After dropping that line, I turned to go back inside. Calvin was still spouting nonsense about how I was crazy in love with him. But soon he fell completely silent, because he saw me and Dylan kissing. No, not quite. He saw me being pressed against the wall and kissed by Dylan. And Calvin himself was being pinned to the ground by the bodyguards Barry had brought over. Barry was extremely efficient. Within minutes, he had dragged Calvin away, leaving just me and Dylan. My touch starvation had flared up early. Dylan's kiss had triggered it. After kissing me, Dylan tried to run again, but I grabbed him. "You run away every time after you kiss me. As the creator of this world, are you in a hurry to go revise the plot?" Dylan stammered, You know? So, what were you on to write a scumbag like Calvin as the main character?" Dylan dropped to his knees in a smooth slide, tears streaming down his face. "Eric, I'm sorry. I only suddenly woke up to it the day you called me to pick you up. If I had known your dad wrote this book and that we're all characters in it, I would have what? I would have begged your dad to write us getting together the day we turned 18, and there would have been absolutely no room for that piece of shit Calvin. Can I kiss you? My dad wrote this? Hey, what kind of father screws over his own son like that? You're already kissing me. Why are you asking?" That night, my touch starvation had the most severe flare-up ever. But luckily, Dylan was there. What Dylan doesn't know, though, is that I have a secret too. The person I've always liked has always been Dylan. I only ever gave Calvin a second glance because I always thought he looked a little like Dylan. Thankfully, we ended up together. As long as we're together in the end, being a little late is okay.